Miami is the only major U.S. city that was founded by a woman in 1896. They called her the Mother of Miami.
In Italy, one partner does 21 hours more housework per week than the other, the largest household chore gap of any country studied.
Women experience chronic pain more frequently and more intensely than men, and are more likely to have their pain dismissed by doctors.
Women are better at reading facial expressions than men, a skill measurable in newborns, suggesting it's at least partly genetic.
Women retain memories of emotional events more vividly and for longer than men. The amygdala processes them more deeply. Gender equality in education globally could boost world GDP by $160 trillion. Women live an average of 5 to 7 years longer than men globally. In almost every country on Earth, women outlive men.
Women are more likely to apologize than men. Research shows they have a lower threshold for what counts as offensive behavior.
The female sex symbol represents the hand mirror of Aphrodite, the ancient Greek goddess of beauty and love. It's been unchanged for millennia. Women live an average of 5 to 7 years longer than men globally. In almost every country on Earth, women outlive men. Women are twice as likely as men to suffer from Alzheimer's disease, and scientists still don't fully understand why. On October 24, 1975, 90% of Iceland's women went on a complete strike. No work, no housework, no childcare. The country stopped.
Women have larger pupils than men on average, allowing more light into the eye and contributing to greater peripheral vision.
Today's entire human population descends from twice as many women as men. 80% of women reproduced historically, only 40% of men did.
In Northern Ireland, women actually earn 3.4% more than men on average, one of the few places on Earth where the gap goes the other way.
Dirty water kills more women worldwide, AID.
Over 80 women have served as head of government of their countries, presidents, prime ministers, and chancellors worldwide.
America's first female mayor was elected in 1887 after a group of men nominated her as a prank. She won over 60% of the vote.
Women drive 85% of all consumer spending in the U.S. Nearly every major purchase decision is influenced or made by a woman. The average UK woman spends 17 years of her life on a diet. 17 years, trying to change her body.
86% of UK women aged 16 to 24 have anxiety, depression, or OCD. More than 1 in 4 young women are struggling.
The first female governor of a U.S. state was elected in 1924, just 4 years after women even gained the right to vote.
Women in poor urban areas are 50% less likely to access the internet than men in the same communities. The digital divide is gendered.
Breastfeeding physically rewires a mother's brain, making her auditory system hypersensitive to her own baby's crying above all other sounds.
The first woman to receive a university degree did so in 1678 in Padua, Italy. 340.
Each extra year of education a girl receives increases her future earnings by 20%. Education is the highest return investment for women.
When a cleric blamed women's dress for earthquakes, 100,000 women organized a boobquake to test it. Seismic readings were completely flat.
A woman's hippocampus, the brain's memory and emotion center, physically grows and shrinks in sync with her monthly hormone cycle.
According to a French study, bras may actually cause breasts to sag more by weakening the supporting muscles over time. Only half of women in developing countries receive the minimum recommended maternity health care they need. Half go without.
The average woman generates around 300 pounds of menstrual product waste over her lifetime, most of it non-biodegradable plastic.
St. Lucia is the only country in the entire world named after a woman. Every other country is named after a man or a concept.
80% of 50 Shades of Grey buyers are women. The best-selling erotic novel of all time was almost entirely purchased by women.
603 million women worldwide live in countries where domestic violence is not legally a crime.
Over 200 women have run for President of the United States throughout history. The first did so in 1872.
You can determine a person's biological sex from a fingerprint alone. Women secrete twice as many amino acids as men in a distinct pattern. Achieving full gender equality in the U.S. workplace could add $4.3 trillion to the American economy by 2025.
In the 19th century, doctors treated hysteria in women by manually inducing orgasms. This is how the vibrator was invented.
Over 800,000 women served in the Soviet military during WW2 as soldiers, pilots, snipers, and medics.
The first computer programmers in history were women, not men. Women built the foundations of modern computing.
Oxytocin has a significantly stronger impact on women than men, which is why women more often link physical intimacy with emotional love. Only half of UK women surveyed could correctly locate the vagina on a diagram of the female reproductive system. Just half.
In developing countries, women are half as likely as men to speak out online, and the digital gender gap is a real barrier.
The smallest gender pay gap in the world is in New Zealand, under 5%. The world average gap is over 20%.
Up to 1/3 of all women are affected by urinary incontinence. It's one of the most common female health issues and barely discussed.
Women only started shaving their armpits in 1915. Before that, it simply wasn't a thing anywhere in the Western world.
Worldwide, women earn 18 trillion per year, but spend 28 trillion. Women are the world's most powerful consumers.
74% of middle school girls are interested in STEM. By college, only 0.4% choose computer science. Something is killing the interest.
The UAE has the world's most extreme gender imbalance. 219 men for every 100 women. More than double the number of men.
Men sweat up to twice as much as women. Women's sweat glands are less active tuches, but women actually have more of them.
Shorter women have measurably shorter pregnancies on average, and shorter pregnancies carry higher health risks for babies.
Every 13 minutes, a woman dies from breast cancer in the United States. Over 100 women per day.
30% of all businesses in the US are owned by women, employing nearly 9 million people and generating $1.8 trillion in revenue. In the 1920s and early 1930s, women dominated Hollywood screenwriting. They wrote most of the films, then were pushed out.
In China, unmarried women in their late 20s are officially labeled shengnu, which literally means leftover women.
In the 1920s and early 1930s, women dominated Hollywood screenwriting. They wrote most of the films, then were pushed out.
Jamaica, Colombia, and St. Lucia are the only 3 countries where a woman is statistically more likely to be your boss than a man.
30% of all businesses in the U.S. are owned by women, employing nearly 9 million people and generating $1.8 trillion in revenue.
Studies show men and women produce the same amount of gas. Men are not more flatulent. They're just less discreet about it.
Women live longer than men, partly because their immune systems age more slowly. Female biology literally outlasts male biology.
Women experience significantly more nightmares than men, and their dreams are more emotionally intense across every age group.
Women in Niger have an average of 7 children, the highest birth rate of any country on Earth.
The average woman will have 150 different hairstyles over the course of her lifetime, roughly 2 or 3 per year.
Over 80% of women are wearing the wrong bra size right now. Most women have never been properly fitted.
Women blink 19 times per minute on average, nearly double the male rate of 11 blinks per minute. Nobody knows exactly why.
Only 2% of women describe themselves as beautiful. Just 2 in every 100 women think the word beautiful applies to them.
The highest number of children ever born to one woman is 69, all in multiple births, to a Russian woman in the 18th century.
Women were first allowed to compete in the Olympic Games in 1900, over 4 years after the modern Olympics began in 1896.
Women are scientifically better at multitasking than men, confirmed by brain imaging studies showing more simultaneous neural activity.
Heart disease is the #1 killer of women, not breast cancer, not stroke. Heart disease. Most women don't know this. 68% of women say they would have an affair if they were completely certain they wouldn't get caught. 68%. Women think about their physical appearance an average of 9 times every single day, a UK survey found.
Women can become pregnant up to 8 days after having sex. Sperm can survive inside the body for nearly a week.
The average UK woman will own 111 handbags in her lifetime. That's roughly one new handbag every
30% of pregnant women crave non-food items like dirt, chalk, or clay, a real disorder called pica, affecting millions worldwide.
Some women have a rare genetic mutation that lets them see millions of additional colors invisible to everyone else. They're called tetrachromates.
Women have more taste buds than men, which is why women are generally better at detecting subtle flavors and bitterness.
Taller women are statistically more likely to develop cancer senu. The correlation has been confirmed across multiple large studies.
Women's hearts beat faster than men's, typically 8 to 10 beats per minute faster, even at rest.
Women who snore during pregnancy are significantly more likely to have smaller babies, according to a medical study.
The world's first successful womb transplant recipient became pregnant in 2013, a medical milestone that changed what's possible. Over a lifetime, a woman spends more than 4 full years menstruating. Over 4 years, just this one biological process.
At any given moment, approximately 4% of all women in the U.S. are pregnant, roughly 6 million women simultaneously.
Women having heart attacks often feel nausea, shoulder aches, and indigestion, not chest pain. This is why so many are missed.
Israel is the only country in the world that drafts women into compulsory military service alongside men.
Men were actually the first to wear high heels, around the 1600s. Women adopted them later specifically to look more masculine.
Men lie 6 times a day on average, twice as often as women. Men are statistically the bigger liars.
Women cry between 30 and 64 times a year. Men cry between 6 and 17.
Russia has 9 million more women than men. The gender imbalance is so large entire social structures have shifted around it.
Women spend the equivalent of nearly 1 full year of their lives just deciding what to wear. 287 days, choosing outfits.
40% of all births in the U.S. are to unmarried women. 2 in every 5 American babies are born outside of marriage.
All but one of the 20 richest women in the world inherited their money from a husband or father. Only one earned it herself.
Every 90 seconds, somewhere in the world, a woman dies during pregnancy or childbirth. 1 every minute and a half.
20% of women in the U.S. earn at least $5,000 more than their spouse every year. The breadwinner gap is closing fast.
Women in ancient Rome rubbed gladiator sweat on their skin as a beauty treatment. Gladiator sweat was sold in jars.
Women speak around 20,000 words per day on average, right? That's 13,000 more words than the average man.
Every single day.
The average UK woman owns 19 pairs of shoes, but only ever wears 7 of them. 12 pairs just sit there.